Right, we're back.
Okay, Lee, this is still Adler's 2824. So I'm just going to put the automatic module together. Now, what I want to share with you is I don't put the automatic module on until the movement is in the watch. Dial on, hands on. And everything you lubricate on the automatic module is HP. Okay?
Okay.
So here we've got a pivot. Big wheel on the pivot. You've got 4 wheels here.
Mm-hmm.
How many possibilities? Here's a wheel with a pivot, with a pinion. Okay. I know that these two reversers are going to go over here. Okay. So we know that this wheel here is going to go upside down because the teeth of this wheel are going to drive the pinion of that wheel. And I'm fairly confident that this wheel right here has to go here because the teeth of that wheel have to drive a pinion. Now, I don't know what pinion, but they have to drive a pinion. So we're going to get him in his jewel and it fits. And then we put this baby back down here. Here we go. And these 2 reverser wheels work together. Now, the wheel underneath this reverser wheel, there's 1 wheel up, 1 wheel down. The other one is smaller. So it tells me, you can see this reverser wheel. This brass one is smaller than this copper one.
Mm-hmm.
See? Why there's 2 different metals, I don't know.
Is it just to help identify?
I think it's an identifier.
Yeah.
So I know that he's going to tuck under. Just like that. So we know again that the teeth of that bigger wheel drive the pinion of this one.
Yeah.
And that pinion had to tuck in there. And there is a détente, there's a space for him. So you go, oh, okay. It's got to go in there.
Right there. And what's smart about these automatics is that the rotor can spin in either direction to wind it up.
These 2 reverser wheels, yeah.
Which is why you've got these reverser wheels.
Yeah. Okay. Now this one here didn't go in quite as. There we go. And then this reverser wheel, so they're working together. So yes, they work. Whether that rotor is going to the left, oscillating to the left or to the right. And then we're going to lay this bridge on with the flat of our jewels down. So it really goes like this. And I'm just going to take that wheel. Now we've got 2 steady pins here, 1 there, 1 there. So we know that we can just set this down, lay it in the flat, a little bit, there we go. And you're going to line up 3 jewels right here. And I don't expect any problems here.
Straight on.
Straight on. And they all lined up. That was really drama-free. And put the screw home right there. Let that screw go home. I'm going to hold down the plate or the bridge. You notice it's a little wonky. So I'm just going to be gentle. Drive that screw home. This job was a little too easy.
Don't say that.
There we go. And then we're going to turn it. Just to see if we got. There we go. It's fun. So now we're going to oil them. So I'm going to put my high powered loop on. Now I'm just going to set it aside when I'm done. You know. But we're going to put it on last with, and we're going to put the rotor on last too.
Okay.
The rotor is over here.
Yeah, the last bit you drop on.
Yeah. What did I drop?
No, I was saying the rotor drops on last.
Yeah, and I'm going to lubricate everything with HP. So we're going to take very... Boy, that's... these are tiny jewels, by the way. You'd think they'd be bigger. And I still don't want to get any oil on the shoulder of the jewel. I can probably use the residue oil. That's it. And then flip it over. And then do the same thing. We're going to oil the jewels on the face. The jewels on the upside, I guess, are bigger than the downside. Sometimes I think it's a decorative thing. I would, if I was designing a watch, I'd make them all the same.
That's because you think about a watch from the point of view of servicing.
Yeah. And then we're going to oil. There you go. I'm not getting any oil on the shoulder of the jewel. I'm really touching the pivot. And then it draws into the jewel.
Yeah, it's the...
Obviously, if you have too much oil on, it's going to
collect dust and grind.
Going to go everywhere. But now this automatic thing is done. Set it aside with the rotor. Let's get the movement.
Right to the main movement. So you're now going to drop... Hang on, you'll put the dial on now and then drop it into the case, right?
Yeah, pause real quick.
Here we go, we're off. So now we're going to put the dial onto the movement.
Yep. So now we're putting the dial on Adler's 2824 Oris. There's a spacer ring here on all 2824s.
Okay.
So we want to get him in place. Okay, so he's there. He kind of snaps on, but sometimes they're loose and sometimes they're scary. You know, like when you're putting the dial on. Now remember, we don't want to touch this dial. Okay. So I took the dial out, but I don't want to get any dust on it. So we're going to keep him covered. But we got to get our little levers, our little wedge levers out for setting the dial. And you can't always see them from the top side. And we put that retaining ring on. So I'm going to take the retaining ring off. Not retaining ring, but spacer. And now, if you see here, here's our levers. There's two ways to do it. You can press one side and pop it out, like that. And then the other side of the movement. Sorry, I touched it with my ungloved hand. And you can also press them out this way. There we go. Sometimes they don't come out that easy and you have to pry them out with the screwdriver. But they pressed out the way I wanted them to. So I'm going to put this spacer ring on, which really maintains the correct height for the dial so that the date wheel moves freely. That's all. Make sure he's in there so we don't get in trouble. And now we are going to surgically put this dial on. And yes, the date was at 6. Yeah. So we have to put our hour wheel on because I looked at a hole in there. I go, wait a minute, something's missing. Yeah. There we go. And then we're going to put this on, and it should just sit down vertically without drama, and it did. And now we're going to take, and you know what I'm going to do? Pause.
Okay. So we're back with some new finger.
So I put new finger cuts on because I just didn't want to, this dial is just beautiful. And I didn't want any old oil from the finger cut to compromise the dial. So I'm pressing those two wedged dial feet levers in from underneath. So you got to trust me that we did that. So we're going to blow off any dust on this dial. Looks good. I'm not going to fiddle with the dial until the end. Then I'll hit it with some brand new Rodico to get any dust off.
By the end, you mean even once you put hands on and stuff?
Yeah, let's get the hands on. So now I put the new finger props on. So we're going to advance the date Are we good?
I can see. I'm trying to
We're going to
around.
advance the date to the 4th because we're on the 3rd. And I'm taking little. And as soon as it starts moving, get to the 4th. There we go, watch.
You'll start to see the move.
As soon as it snaps, there, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's where
You
we
now
wanna
know
be.
you're on midnight, right?
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to put the hour wheel on.
Ah, so you'll put the hour hand and the second hand and everything.
Did I
all
say
face-
hour wheel? I meant hour hand, yeah.
So now you're going to put the hour, the
Mhm.
minute, and the second all facing 12 because you know it's just gone to 12 on the date, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty tight.
I drove myself
Yeah.
mad with the grandfather clock recently trying to get it to coordinate with the hands and the chimes.
Yeah, I do house calls. So we're good. If you ever need me.
It's done now, but my sanity will be broken forever.
And I'm going to use my stick to move the hands. Right there. And then I'm going to use my plastic. And when I use my hand setter, I only use the pin that I need to set the hand. So I put the movement holder on the middle because I have more room to play. Right there. And just set it. Drive it home. If you notice, I took the other ones out.
Oh, I've not seen that before. The one I've got is you just hold.
Yeah, but I took the other ones out so I could use the middle of the hand setter and not be distracted by anything.
Yeah.
I'm just giving myself more less chance of making a mistake. You know, and I mean, when we took this watch apart last week, it was the hands were just gorgeous, you know. And I'm gonna